She stayed silent through the insult, but when her father, the airline owner, walked in, respect replaced judgment in a heartbeat. Zariah stepped off the plane with her backpack slung over one shoulder, earbuds in, the faint hum of music trying to soothe the exhaustion on her face. The flight had been long, and her eyes showed it. Red from lack of sleep, her steps just a little slower than usual. She wasn't here for anything special, just heading home, a place she hadn't seen in weeks. As she moved through the terminal, the buzz of travelers filled the air, families reuniting, business people rushing to their next gate, kids dragging stuffed animals behind them. Zariah smiled softly at a little girl waving to her dad through the crowd. She paused near the baggage carousel, adjusting her coat, eyes scanning for her suitcase. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mum. "Can't wait to see you. Dinner's almost ready." That warmth, that simple line, brought a sigh of relief to her lips. Home was close. The smell of her mum's cooking, her old room, her dad's dry jokes, just a cab ride away. She looked around at the other passengers. No one looked her way, no one knew her, just another young woman making her way through the world. But to Zariah, that was fine. She liked blending in, liked moving quietly. She didn't need attention. All she needed was to grab her bag, step into the cool evening air, and breathe again. But in that peaceful moment, something shifted. A shadow stepped into her space, authority in a uniform. His eyes scanned her from head to toe, and though he said nothing yet, she felt it, the weight of being seen, not as a traveler but as a problem. The officer's voice cut through the hum of the airport, sharp and firm. "Ma'am, I need to speak with you." Zariah turned, surprised, eyebrows slightly raised. She pulled out one earbud, trying to understand what he needed. "Is something wrong?" she asked, her voice calm, polite. He didn't answer her question directly. Instead, he asked for her ID, her boarding pass, her reason for travel. Around them, other passengers walked by without so much as a glance from him. Zariah felt the stares of strangers now, eyes lingering, curious, judging. Her hands didn't shake, but she felt that familiar chill inside, the one that came not from fear, but from being singled out again. She handed over everything he asked for, not because she had to, but because she'd learned over the years how peace was sometimes the only power she had. He looked at her documents longer than necessary, his face giving nothing away. "Are these really yours?" he asked. The question wasn't about lost luggage. It was about her presence, her place in that airport. She didn't flinch. "Yes," she said, "they are." She didn't raise her voice, didn't let the frustration show. This wasn't new to her. She'd seen this kind of moment in different forms before. She knew the script. But today she didn't feel like playing along. Not out of anger, but out of something deeper. Quiet dignity. He handed her things back slowly, still watching her like she didn't belong. Like she couldn't possibly be who her ID said she was. She gave him a small nod and said only one thing before stepping aside to make a call. "You're making a mistake." Zariah walked a few steps away from the officer, her back straight, eyes calm but focused. She pulled out her phone, fingers steady as she unlocked it. The noise of the airport continued behind her, luggage rolling, voices over the intercom, the distant sound of laughter, but for Zariah it all faded, it all. Her thumb hovered over one contact, a name she rarely had to call in public situations like this. But today, something inside her said it was time. She pressed the button. One ring. Two. Then a warm, steady voice answered. "Zariah?" She didn't explain everything, didn't need to, just a soft, measured reply. "Can you come inside? I'm at baggage claim." A pause on the other end, then, "I'm on my way." She ended the call and stood still. Not fidgeting, not pacing. The officer watched her from a distance, arms crossed, a flicker of smugness still on his face. He thought it was over, that she'd accepted the moment and moved on. But she hadn't. She wasn't angry. She wasn't shaken. She was waiting. Outside, a sleek black car rolled up to the curb, its windows tinted, the kind of car that turned heads without making a sound. The driver stepped out quickly and opened the rear door. Inside, a tall man adjusted his suit jacket and stepped out, walking with the confidence of someone who didn't ask for permission. As he entered the terminal, airport staff who had barely glanced at Zariah now stood up straighter, murmuring hellos, nodding respectfully. The atmosphere shifted like a cold wind replaced with heat. People noticed. The officer didn't, not yet. He was too focused on watching Zariah, but she wasn't watching him. Her eyes were on the door. And then, just as calmly as she had made the call, she whispered to herself, "Here he comes." The moment he stepped through the sliding glass doors, the energy around the baggage claim changed. People turned, some recognizing him immediately, others reacting to the shift in tone from airport staff now rushing to greet him. Tall, composed, wearing a tailored charcoal suit with polished shoes that echoed softly against the terminal floor. He didn't look left or right. His focus was straight ahead, on Zariah. The officer who had questioned her frowned slightly, noticing the attention the man was drawing. He glanced toward Zariah, now realizing that something about this situation didn't add up. Zariah didn't speak. She simply stood there, arms relaxed by her sides, watching her father approach. A woman in uniform stepped forward, nodding respectfully. "Mr. Thompson, we weren't expecting you today." He nodded once, acknowledging her before walking past. The officer finally stepped forward, trying to piece things together. "Sir, can I help you?" he asked, voice unsure now. Zariah's father looked at him, a calm but firm gaze. "I believe you've already done enough," he replied. He turned to his daughter. "Are you all right?" She nodded. He stopped me, asked if my ID was really mine. That was all she needed to say. Her father didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Instead, he turned back to the officer. "You questioned my daughter. You assumed she didn't belong. But you didn't bother to ask the most important question, who she is." The officer blinked, suddenly uneasy. "And who is she?" Mr. Thompson didn't answer with words. He pulled out his ID badge, the gold-lettered emblem of the very airline whose name was printed across the walls of the terminal. The officer stared at it, his posture stiffening, confidence draining with every second. Around them, others had started watching. A quiet circle of attention formed. No one spoke. No one needed to. Zariah stood still, head high, the same quiet strength she'd carried from the beginning, now magnified by the truth standing beside her. Her father turned to her again. "Let's go." And as they walked out together, not a single word of apology from the officer could catch up to the silence he had created. And just before they disappeared into the crowd, Zariah glanced back, not with anger, but with something far more powerful: grace. A grace that said everything without saying anything at all.